Hola, ¿cómo están? And what is going on, guys? DarkScheme here. Hope you're all having a good day. I know I am, as this update for Halo 5 called Hammerstorm is now live. And with it, we got a full list of patch notes. So I'm going to be going over a few of the highlights from this patch note. But if you guys want to read the full patch notes, I will be linking you guys to that in the description below. So the first one is the Halo Combat Evolved pistol being added in to both Warzone and Forge, meaning that you can use the Combat Evolved pistol and set it up for custom games. And that pistol is a 3-shot kill. So it'll be interesting to see people and what they create as far as custom games, maybe some classics with no thrusting. I think it'd be really interesting. Players can now quote-unquote reroll random weapon wrecks in Warzone. And this is actually very useful before, as far as the common random wreck card. It was not as useful because you could get some of the weapons that you necessarily didn't really want, something like the suppressor, but now you can have a chance to re-roll it. And I actually haven't had a chance to play Warzone since the update launched. I'm still kind of waiting on playing a bunch of these game modes, as I kind of wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. So we'll see how well it works, but overall I think it'll make the common random wreck item more useful. Implemented stricter idle boot duration period. So it's great to see that 343 is continuing to increase punishment for idlers, and seeing as there is more of a problem with quitters than idlers, we'll really have to see where it goes. Maybe there is a problem with AFKers, and maybe with those who are just sitting in Warzone and not really playing and kind of just have a rubber band on their controller or something like that. We'll see how that turns out. Made handling improvements to the Ghost, Mongoose, and Warthog to reduce their proneness to flipping over. Now, for those who don't really know, vehicles flipping was actually a lot more common than some might believe. One example is running your Ghost into a friendly, and flipping over was pretty annoying. So there was some sort of Spartan collision with vehicle collision going on that was really funky. So hopefully that is a little bit more fixed, and hopefully we get to see a lot less vehicles flipping. Although I do have to say that the clips that we got from people flipping their vehicles was pretty funny. To improve consistency, railgun projectile speed has been increased and is now hit scan. Now on paper, this seems like a huge update for the railgun. Charging it up was a little bit weird, and there was actually a method in which you could let it go early as long as it charged all the way up, and that was pretty easy. But some of the railguns that people were able to hit were pretty crazy, and there also was a problem with the railgun in which it shot at people and it would actually hit them, but not for the full damage. So again, some sort of funkiness going on there, so it'll make the railgun a little more consistent, and in reality we won't really know how different it is until using it. Added a mute all toggle option in lobby. Finally, those players with loud microphones and playing loud music can be muted before the game even starts. I remember getting into a bunch of Warzone games in which one guy was blasting his music, one other guy was telling him to shut up and to turn his mic down and to pretty much mute himself. And it was actually a problem because you really had to wait about 30 seconds to a minute, and sometimes the game loads very slow, so in those times if you're using a headset, can be pretty jarring and pretty draining as far as your ear holes go. So finally, something that we've been waiting for added into the game. File browser limits raised to 500 saved items. Great to see that the Halo 5 game can still increase the limit on things like file limits, and having those limits means that we're going to have a ton more room to add in a bunch of different game types, a bunch of different maps that we like to favorite, and really just make it so that we can all kind of just add people to our friends list and have the ability to add more fun game types and game modes. Added new Pelican props, added new UNSC drop pod props, and the Grunt toy have been added to the Forge sandbox. More great items for forgers, and for those trying to recreate or inspire Halo battlefields, this is going to make it a lot easier. I think the drop pod and the Pelican even go as far as to having an open drop pod, a closed drop pod, an open backdoor to the Pelican and a closed backdoor to the Pelican. So it's going to be really interesting. And with scripting going on, people are going to be able to use these items to make them a live setting. So it'll be interesting to see this dynamic environment with the drop pods. So we'll see how that'll turn out as well. Additionally, Xbox put out an article talking about Halo 5's future free content, and it specifically mentioned Warzone Firefight. And because it was mentioned, this is pretty much confirming that it is being worked on as a game mode. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it will be making it into next month's update in March, but hopefully during that time we will see more game modes being added to the game to keep it fresh. And in the article, an image was also included showing a few content update titles coming this summer. It's including Ghosts of Meridian, Memories of Reach, Hog Wild, and of course Warzone Firefight. Now, I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at. It seems like these are the titles, but at the very end it has Warzone Firefight. So really, at this point we can all speculate, but seeing the Memories of Reach title intrigues me very much. And on that note, I think there was one last thing that I do want to mention, and it is that Halo has done something very touching for the community, specifically one community member. Halo created its first animated emblem that can be used in-game, and each player will be granted this as part of the Hammerstorm update. Recently, Halo community member The Crazed Spartan lost two of his daughters in a tragic house fire. The emblem is dedicated for his family and daughters, Trinity and Lena. Not only this, but they've also added their names into the new arena map, Torque. If you go into the map and you look up into the skybox, you can actually see the names Trinity and Lena. And I think this is one of the most touching and thoughtful gifts that members over at 343 could have done. And it just goes to show how close the Halo community is with each other. And personally for me, I will definitely be rocking that emblem for quite some time. But that is pretty much it for me today, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a few highlights from the patch notes. Again, full patch notes will be in the description below. And I'm going to get back to playing some more Halo 5. And as always, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you next time.
You have the ball. You have the ball. You've been spotted. Mid taking fire. You're spotted. Taking fire. 5 minutes remain. Enemy has the ball. We found their carrier. Carrier killed. You have the ball. You're spotted. Enemy has the ball. Enemy has the ball. Plasma caster in 10 seconds. Plasma caster ready. You have the ball. They spotted you. Enemy has the ball. Enemy carrier's been marked. You have the ball. You've been spotted. Enemy has the ball. We found their carrier. Carrier killed.
Perfect. Double kill. You have the ball.
I got a sword. You're spotted.
Enemy has the ball.
Recharged and ready.
Enemy has the ball. We have the ball.
Mid under fire.
2 minutes left.
Plasma caster is on the field.
Perfect. Triple kill. Ball incoming. New ball spawn. We have the ball. You have the ball.
You're spotted.
Enemy has the ball.
Enemy carrier's been marked.
1 minute left. We have the ball. You have the ball. 30 seconds.
Shields back up. You're spotted.
Enemy has the ball. 10 seconds.
Enemy carrier's been marked.
Carrier kill. You have the ball. Game over. Victory.